Now we're going to spend some time on this back piece, piece A. You should have cut out one from the exterior, and take some chalk or some erasable pen, and you need to transfer these different dotted lines, the strap attachers, the top center, the corners of the pockets, the all the locations for these. What I generally do when I'm marking these top things is I fold this down and make markings, fold it down, make the next markings, fold it down, and that's how I get the markings in the correct spot. I mark the corners of different pieces. I don't know if you can see it at all, but I marked the corners of where things are going to be placed. So you also are going to be needing all of those little pieces that we worked on before, the two top D-rings and these little triangles, plus your handle. And if you're doing the backpack, you'll be doing your straps instead of the D-ring attachments at the top. And you'll have your webbing down here. You also need a zipper. I believe it's 7-inch zipper for the small and 8-inch for the large. It can be a size 3 or a size 5. And you will need your exterior piece, zipper pocket piece P, which has different cutting lines depending on whether you're doing the small or the large. So I'm going to take one of these pieces and match it up with the corners that I've already marked. And pin it in place. I'm also going to take my pen, my ruler, and I'm going to mark an inch down from the top and an inch in from the sides. And this will let me know where exactly to sew my zipper. I also mark 1/2 inch below that first marking, and that'll be the bottom of my zipper. Or not the bottom of my zipper, but the bottom of the rectangle that I sew for my zipper. So I know where my corners are, my top, my bottom, and I'm going to sew those. What I generally do is I start sewing in the middle, and I'm doing my standard 2.5 inch or 2.5 stitch length. As I get closer to the corners, I start decreasing my stitch length until when I get to the corner, I'm at a 1. And then as I start doing this other long side, I can increase back to 2.5. Do the same decreasing thing at this corner. The reason I do that is it helps my corners be a little more crisp when I'm turning. Use my seam ripper to start ripping, and my scissors to cut this line in the middle of my zipper rectangle, and then up to the corners. Don't go through the stitching, just up to the corners. rectangle, same thing at this corner. Okay, now I push this through. I generally press it to make it nice and flat. Right now my iron is not on. I'm just going to go around finger pressing it. Okay, I used my fingers to press this instead of an iron. Now you can use double-sided adhesive if you prefer. But I generally just eyeball this. Oops. Need a zipper foot. Okay. Okay, so I press this with my fingers, which is not quite as good as an iron, but which will do for now. And if you prefer, you can stick your zipper in place using double-sided adhesive. I generally just eyeball it and hold it in place. So I'm using a zipper foot right now, and I lengthen my stitch a little bit. And while I am going across this metal zipper, I generally hand crank it to make sure I can get it in the right spots without breaking my needle. Okay, and I did use a zipper that was longer than 7 inches. You can always use a longer zipper. So now I'm going to trim this off. Be careful of that metal. Okay, so it looks like this on this side, and on the back we will, my stitches on the back are not doing too great on my sewing machine these days. I always hate getting my sewing machine serviced because it means I have to relinquish it for a few weeks. Okay, so one thing for us to remember is that if you are doing the binding method of finishing at the end, then you can close your bottom pocket. But if you are going to be not doing that method, you'll have to turn through this pocket. So leave the bottom open. And if you're not sure which method you're doing, then leave the pocket open because you can always close it at the end. and make sure to backstitch at the beginning and end of this seam, because when you turn it right side out, it can be stuffing everything through it, and you don't want it unraveling. I guess this is having trouble going over that zipper tape. I don't know why. Okay. Gotta be careful of this metal. Okay. Next, we will be sewing all of these top things on. So I'm going to switch to a Teflon foot for this. And we will be basting these on so you can do a long stitch. You need your D-rings or your straps and your handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing across the bottom of this D-ring attachment. Then I'm just going to keep sewing over the handle, fold the handle around, and then end with the last D-ring attacher. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to sew about 3/4 of an inch up and sew over all of them again. Okay, so these are all basted in place. And now you need your overlay. So I'm going to find the corners where I marked that this overlay is going to go. And I marked where it's going to be on the bottom, and I can match that up. Now, I can't use a fabric that can be pinned, so I'm just going to have to keep an eye on my corners and the other markings I left, and just be careful. And while I'm sewing across this, remember there's an opening at the top of this, so that'll all get sewn closed. I'm going to sew just about 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around. We're going to go around once, and then we're going to go around a second time. I'm still using my Teflon foot because this vinyl really wants to shift. Now you probably are going to sew over the top of the pocket, and that's fine. That'll just help anchor it in place. That was the first go around. And that looks pretty good, but I really want to have it go around a second time because a lot of stress will be going on these, the handle and the D-rings. Great, so we are all done with this, and the only thing left for this back part is basting on these triangles. Make sure you have your triangle facing up on both sides. Okay, that is the back for the convertible. And if you're doing the backpack, I'd recommend taking these and just maybe rolling them up or putting them in this back zipper pocket, just tucking them away. And then I also rolled up the webbing into a little circle. For the convertible, you don't need to do that. So set that aside.